It is a glorious day to just show up. Hi, everyone. Yvonne Heath here, nurse turned author, speaker, and changemaker, and your host. Welcome to Navigating Grief with Heart and Humor, where we talk about plan and prepare for grief transitions, end of life, and all the messiness in between, long before it arrives and diffuse the fear. Truthfully, we have been in the deep trenches of grief, crisis, trauma, and realized how ill prepared we were. And we want to do it differently next time. We want to better understand grief and how to support ourselves and one another so that we can live life to the fullest, learn to grieve, and yes, have the talk about end of life long before it arrives and diffuse the fear. Easier said than done? Yes. Most of these conversations are. But the truth is that if we continue to learn, unlearn, and evolve, if we support one another and learn from each other, we can do this differently. So let's get started. As always, I want to share my message with heart, humor, and humanness. And the humor is what keeps me going. And so that's why I have my wonderful background and vibrant colors. And I wanted to share this week, I'm going to be doing a training for community paramedics here in Ontario, which is so exciting to me. And of course, when you are in healthcare, there is a lot of grief and trauma and crisis. And so bringing the humor is even that much more important. And so I get everyone to write their names on a name card and put it right in front of them. And I don't care if you're 20, 30, 50, 60, or whatever. I have stickers for you to put on your name tag and our name card and on your binder, wherever you want, whatever you want, because as adults, we get too serious, right? And I mean, it is fun to have stickers. So like I have these funny little elephant stickers and I have rainbow stickers and googly butterfly stickers and about 100, of course I have my minions, obviously. I have minions and also these animals that are like superheroes, kaboom, kapow, blam, bam, whatever. I know that at first when they go to put them on, it's like, well, this is kind of weird. And then all of a sudden they're combing through all the stickers and deciding what stickers they're going to use. And then it's just more fun. We can do this. We can add more joy and more fun in all these little things. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to cost a lot of time. And if you're not used to being silly, I invite you to lean into it. Just get a little sillier each and every day. I promise you, you can create your own joy each and every day. So now that I've shared my fun fact, I also always want to take a moment. We don't create rituals sort of to go from one place to another, from one moment to another. And so I've done that in my life because I know I've already had a busy morning with lots of different activity, getting ready for my exciting training. And I know there's a lot going on over there. And so when we're going to spend our time together, I want to be fully present. I don't want to be thinking about all the things that I need to do. So my ritual is to just take a few minutes, few moments to just land here, to make sure my feet are on the ground. I take 2 slow, intentional, deep inhales through my nose, exhale through my mouth. When I inhale through my nose, I close my eyes and I set an intention for our time together. What do I need to share? And what do I need to learn? And I'm continuously sharing and learning. And with my exhale, I let go of everything else and ground myself. Just these 2 short, deep breaths are so helpful. And if I have more time, a bigger event, something, I'm feeling anxious about something, I will take 5 or 10 minutes and just pause and do this. But for today, I'm going to take 2 slow, deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And I invite you to create your own ritual or join me in whatever's comfortable for you. So I'm going to close my eyes, inhaling slowly and setting my intention. Exhaling slowly and grounding myself. Inhaling slowly. What do I need to learn and share? And exhaling through my mouth, grounding myself. I always feel more calm when I do this ritual, even if it is just 2 slow, deep breaths. And for anybody who actually knows me, calm was never a part of the description of Yvonne Heath. And now I love that. And then when I'm on stage or doing something else, I'm all fired up and I still come back to that calmness after. All right, so let's get started with our topic today. I'm going to continue on. In the last episode, I started to share the 7 takeaways in the context of supporting children, like applying them in our lives and how we can teach by example, support children who are grieving, who are struggling, or just teaching. There are teachable moments each and every day. There are opportunities. We just have to be aware of them and look for them. And of course, we start with ourselves. So in the last episode, I shared the first 3 takeaways, and I invite you to go back and today we'll do takeaways 4 to 7. So takeaway number 4 is, well, let's just reflect back. Takeaway number 1, the best time to talk about, plan, and prepare for grief transitions, end of life, is when we are young and healthy, and the next best time is now. Takeaway number 2, it takes a village. It takes a village to support those who are grieving, ill, bereaved, marginalized, just having a really bad day, and to support one another. And takeaway number 3, the most important, which we base all of our teaching on and our mission: when you don't know what to do and you don't know what to say, just show up. Just show up. And takeaway number 4 is sort of the caveat to these takeaways. If you want to be a part of someone's village and compassionate community, if you want to be able to just show up for others, you simply must, non-negotiable, just show up for yourself first. Show up for yourself first. This is non-negotiable. And when I'm talking about just showing up for yourself first, the first thing to do is check in with the basics, right? Often we overlook the basics, and I'm not going to speak to someone at length about, are you sleeping well, eating well, drinking well? Do you get enough exercise? How do you have exercise or a response to stress response? Do you have a relaxation response? Do you have supportive people around you? All of those things are just essential. I mean, that's just, taking care of the machine, taking care of your body, mind, soul, all of it. That wholeness of wellness is non-negotiable. And then the next, if you're not doing those things, you need to stop there and say, what in the past I didn't take great care of myself. What can I do to change that? And part of that is also changing the paradigm, changing the, martyr, oh, he or she does everything for everyone else. They are so amazing. They always put themselves last. Well, that is not sustainable. And here's the thing. Children are watching. Children are watching. They are sponges. They are learning at school, home, and the community. When you are always putting yourself last, first of all, it doesn't feel very good. When you, I give everything to my children. So your children know, oh, mom gives me everything and she has nothing. Oh, who wants that? And again, I've shared this in the past, elephant in the room. If this is what you are teaching your children, they come first and everybody else is last. What you're telling them is they are first, the number one priority. They have more value and they matter more than you do. And then one day they'll be adults and teachers and work in the community and nurses and parents, and they will have less value. And then the children will have more value. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. But I want to teach my children, and again, whether that is my own children or other children, is that we all have value and we all matter and we all need to take good care of ourselves. There's room for everyone, or everything needs to be important. What's important to me, I need to take good care of myself, because of course, because I value it, I matter, and then I can just show up for others. And also, this is what I want to model. When you're always dragging yourself around, first of all, you're not very fun to be around. I'm just letting you know. Even if you think that you're so great, like, oh, I'm so exhausted all the time. Can we please stop telling our children and telling ourselves and everyone how busy and exhausted we are? What can you do to change that? I'm sorry, there's again a little tough love. I've been there, I've done it. Oh, I'm so busy. Well, what can you do to change that? The other big piece of the just show up for yourself first that I am so passionate about is becoming proactive instead of just reactive. Proactive. Build that solid foundation for yourself. And it starts with the hardest stuff. Takeaway number one, talk about, plan, and prepare for grief, transitions, end of life. And what do you believe about life and death? And can you find a way to accept that life is unpredictable, prepare for anything, change is the only constant? I believe the greatest thing that we can do for ourselves and for children and for our communities and for our families is to become proactive and normalize these conversations and say, oh, I've never had these conversations. I need to show up for myself first. I realize that when there's, someone is ill or there's a transition coming up or a change, I become very anxious. Now I want to do things to create coping skills and strategies for myself. See, that's the gorgeousness about all of this. People think, oh, I can't think about all these things. I'll burn out. It's too much. I have too many other things to do. However, if we are teaching by example and bringing those skills and coping skills and strategies and everything into our own lives, then others will learn just by our example. And just remember, you cannot make anyone anything. And again, with that, show up for yourself first. Take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for your life. No one else can make you happy. No one else can make you anything. Keep your power. And again, oh, what a wonderful thing to teach children, saying no one else can make you happy. I can give you things. I can help you. I can do things with you. I cannot make you happy. That is an inside job. So you get to be in charge of that. How are ways that I make myself happy? How do you make yourself happy? What are the things that are outside in the environment? Of course, things that add to your happiness. But have you ever known people who have everything except happiness? Think about it. So that just showing up for yourself first is so beautiful, because that way you are not depleted. You are not burned out. And when you think of compassion fatigue, we become fatigued when we're trying to make everybody everything. We want to fix them and we want to just show up for them, but we don't do it for ourselves first. And we want to make that other person happy. That's exhausting and depleting. And it doesn't work. I've tried it a million times in my life. So that is the gorgeousness of this all. Showing up for yourself first is the greatest thing you can do for others. And imagine if we all implemented that and every person, child, everybody knew, well, I'm in charge of my own happiness, which also includes honoring your boundaries. Your boundaries are simple. Brene Brown. Who doesn't love Brene Brown? If you don't know Brene Brown, listen to Brene Brown. She helps us to understand compassion, empathy, sympathy, and boundaries. Your boundaries are simply what is okay for you right now and what is not. Period. And that changes. And again, what a beautiful thing to teach children. What is okay for you right now and what is not? What are you able to do? How are you able to just show up, and how are you not able to just show up? And it's all okay. Because here's the thing. When we do things and give things and we are things and we are depleted, we are doing a disservice to ourselves and others. Dr. Gabor Mate, another beautiful teacher, says, choose guilt over resentment. When you were just showing up for people and you're resenting it, and I hear this all the time, oh, I'm going to go to this, but I don't want to. Well, do you really think you're honoring that person? And Brene says, clear is kind. So maybe if we, again, teach by example, show up for ourselves first, and help talk about boundaries, talk about, yeah, sometimes I feel like, I want to do something. I don't have it in me right now. And so I just choose not to, because I have to honor myself first. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to teach? I could talk about this one all day. Okay, let's keep going, because as you know, all of these, everything that I share is just a conversation starter, right? We need to, this is just an opening or continuing these conversations. This is lifelong learning, unlearning, and evolving. Takeaway number 5. I love this one. Structure your life in such a way that you are self-reliant, and so are the people surrounding you. Structure your life in such a way that you are self-reliant, and so are the people surrounding you. Now, let me skip back to takeaway number 4. Showing up for yourself first also means asking for help when you need it. That is a beautiful thing to do and to teach. And we need to get better at that. Let's practice, and lean into that. So when I share takeaway number 5, I am not talking about not asking for help when you need it. I am talking about certain things like, I'll give a perfect example, and I know I've shared this, but we also learn by repeating, right? And they're hearing things over and over. And sometimes when we've heard something once, but it doesn't really land, we weren't really listening. And then the next time go, oh yeah, now I get that. Everyone knows a couple. Let's just take, for example, a husband and a wife, whether it's 2 wives, 2 husbands, doesn't matter, a partnership. And one partner becomes ill or dies, or even if they divorce, and the other partner has never made a sandwich, has never done any cooking. We all know people like that. Or the other partner becomes ill, or they get a divorce, or they die, and the other person has never paid a bill. They don't know anything about their bank account. Why do we do this to each other? We do this to each other in our lives all the time, at home, at work, etc. And, we also teach children in our homes and in our schools. We do everything for them. We just had a relative visit, an 8-year-old, and I said, oh, hey, can you just you can just rinse your plate and put it in the dishwasher. So I don't know how to do that. And that isn't to say, he has horrible parents. He has great parents. They just probably do more for him than they need to. Because here's the truth. When we teach our children, wherever they may be, wherever we are influencing children, that they are self-reliant, or they can do things, even if they don't get it perfect, even if they don't get it right, allow them to do it anyways. They don't really rinse the plate and put it in crooked, let them do it anyways. And say how they are a valuable contributing member to this class, to this school, to this community, to this home. And we all have our part. And wow, thank you very much. So as my kids are growing up, saying, I'm teaching you to be self-reliant. So they do their own laundry, they clean their rooms, they help with the dishes, they do the litter, they do their laundry, like they do all of these things to me that just A, make my life easier, and B, because they can. And I say, you're a contributing member to this family. And I'm so grateful that I don't have to do it all, and not one person has to do it all. And we are teaching that when you feel, again, when children feel that they matter, they are contributing, well, they matter no matter what, but their contributions make a difference, and it's important. And again, when that adult, that teacher, when things change, when relationships change, if they have been completely dependent on one person and that relationship is no longer here, excessive suffering. So along the way, wherever we can, let's create that self-reliance. It increases self-esteem. Yes, you can do it. Thank you very much for wiping the board, emptying the garbage, whatever it may be. Because kids can do so much more. Geez, you know, I think back in the day, before my time even, and like young kids worked on farms from dawn till dusk, dusk till dawn. Like they worked for hours and hours and hours. Now that's not that's not a childhood, in my opinion. That's not what I would like to see. But I kind of feel like we've overcorrected, right? Like children are just, we don't give them the responsibility that they are able to handle, and give them more and more as they're able to do more and more. And then adults whine and complain about how entitled children are. Well, who made them that way? Sorry, again, little elephant in the room, tough love there. Something to think about. All right, well, let's move on. Takeaway number 6. Find your post and hold on to it. And so your post, again, it is wonderful to have people who will just show up for you. You just show up for yourself first. You have a village. And also at 3 a.m, if you are having a crisis of spirit, if you are having, you just need something. And people come and go into your life, right? Season, lifetime. Maybe they're always there. Maybe they don't feel like having a chat at 3 a.m. Maybe you don't actually feel like chatting with someone, but you need something. You need something to hold on to. You need something that connects you to something greater than yourself, that reminds you that love in the world, that connection, whatever it may be, that you can turn to at any time, anywhere, in times of despair or whenever you want to. And so for some people, that's their religion, a spirituality, music, nature, yoga, meditation. And for me, it's nature. I go out in my garden, I go for walks. I can listen to nature sounds, anything, so that there's something I can turn to anywhere, anytime. And when I turn to nature, I am reminded, I just feel, the vibration of everything that's alive in nature, and how there are things that are dying and things that are just sprouting, and, that whole circle of life. And it reminds me that whatever I'm going through is temporary, right? Because everything is temporary and change is the only constant. And so I share this with my children kind of as a matter of fact, right? It's like when they're in a vehicle with me, my son Tanner actually caught on. He's like, "Okay, Mom, not another life lesson. Let's just get to the park." But, I just slip it in and I say, oh yeah, like when I go out for a walk, if I'm grieving or struggling, I can cry, hug a tree, and tell nature all about my problems or whatever. And we talk about religion, and we talk about spirituality. We just talk about all these things. And wouldn't it be wonderful to help children kind of explore what their post could be? And it's funny because, again, I'm always learning, unlearning, and evolving. And I used to say, well, your dog cannot be your post because, as people, dogs die, etc. However, what I realized, and somebody shared, is that if you have a strong connection to animals, and you're very connected with your dog, if you can accept and know that your dog will live a certain amount of time, and you will grieve when your dog dies, and if animals are really important to you, perhaps you can connect with the local shelter, walk your neighbor's dog, have other dogs in your life, go to a goat farm, something where animals can continue to feed your soul, so you can keep that connection. So really, animals can be your post, perhaps not just one animal. When people say, I don't know what so-and-so is going to do when their dog dies, or they say if their dog dies, and I say, we're all a when, not an if. So finding your post is a wonderful thing to have conversations with and to explore with children. And of course, last is takeaway number 7. What will your legacy be? What do you want to be remembered for? And truthfully, again, tough love, we don't know how long we're here. So I believe that our legacy is something we create each and every day in each and every action. If I was only remembered as the person that refused to, or, I'm not perfect. I am flawed and I am imperfect and I am silly. And I wish, and I always continue to try to fuel the positive, not the negative. I don't want to talk about people. I want to talk with people. I want to make them smile. I want to make them laugh. And if I can do those things, and again, teaching by example, saying, your legacy doesn't have to be anything like ginormous. If you have a legacy of someone who is kind, random acts of kindness, intentional acts of kindness, if you say hello to people, if you try to make them smile, if you just show up for them, that is a beautiful legacy to leave and to create each and every day. So I invite children to say, think about in your day, what is something good that you could do today that makes your heart feel good? How can you just show up for someone today and make yourself smile and them smile? And I believe that is the greatest legacy that we can leave. So there you go, the 7 takeaways, exploring how we implement them into our own lives. We can teach by example. And I believe we can do so much different to create a more empowered, resilient, and happy society. And I know with all my heart and soul, if we became proactive and not just reactive, and if we all took those roles, that take that responsibility onto yourself, be a leader. You don't need a title to be a leader. You do not need a title to be the change you want to see in the world. And that is the greatest thing that we can do for the children in our lives. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me. This has been amazing. I love this conversation. I want to keep having it. Let me know how you've implemented the takeaways into your life and how you just show up for children and teach them by example. And of course, it always starts with becoming proactive. And the very first thing to do is plan your life, plan your death, and then just love your life to death. And always bring your own tambourine to the party. Thank you so much. Actually, remember, just lean into all of this. If this is hard for you, that's okay too. I am here to support you. Reach out to me anytime through the website, loveyourlifetodeath.com. And remember, we can do this together. Thanks so much. Bye for now.